back to ESG Uncovered. I'm Minhal Maqbool and I'm joined again by Hazik Nishit, our ESG practice leader. If you have been with us so far, we have talked about what is ESG and how it's shaping across GCC. Today we are looking at how ESG is showing up in the ESG world of investing and why people are asking the question, can money do more?
Yes, it's a great question, Minhal, because investing today isn't just about returns anymore. It's about understanding the risk and rewards of how to invest. Now, ESG investing is gaining serious traction globally.
Agreed.
Right? And it's making waves here in the region too.
So, what exactly is ESG investing? At its core, it's about factoring environmental, social, and governance risk and opportunities in your investment decisions. This might mean avoiding companies with poor human rights record and prioritizing business leaders in clean energy, data privacy, or diversity. And there are three different strategies. Exclusionary screens, where you skip certain industries, best-in-class sections, choosing the top ESG performers in a certain sector, and impact investing, which focuses directly on social or environmental outcomes alongside financial returns.
Exactly. It's not a one-size-fit-all, with any other investment approach. So ESG investing, also can be tailored to reflect an investor's values, his risk appetite, and the sustainability goals that the particular investor has. Whether you are an individual investor or you are managing an institutional portfolio.
But here's the catch, not all glitters is green. One major issue we need to talk about is greenwashing.
Absolutely. A lot of funds related to ESG are labeled as sustainable funds or ESG funds. But when you dig deeper into how those funds came about to be, you will find the loose ESG integration or questionable matrices behind it. Transparency matters. Investors need to really look beyond the label itself. They really need to check what data sources are being used and whether the ESG claims are being independently verified through an independent practitioner.
And there's a concern with the investors that I've seen is they expect, when it comes to ESG, they expect a lower returns. Mm-hmm. But it's the opposite. When the companies have better governance, a good ESG performance, including better governance, strong stakeholder relationships, and which reduces their long-term risk, gives them long-term returns which is quite higher than the traditional investments.
Well, when you talk about ESG-related investments, first thing obviously that comes to mind is that these funds are more resilient, right? So they are more resilient funds, and that matters in a volatile economy. When the markets are volatile, resilience is something investors really look at. So ESG isn't just about ethics; it's a smart, risk-based, adjusted investing.
So what do you think, what's happening in the ESG front, in GCC actually?
Well, we're seeing a lot of movement right now in ESG as far as this region is concerned. Mm-hmm. We've seen that UAE has come up with their own, they've launched their green bonds and ESG frameworks for listed entities. In Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030, ESG, is a big portion, and their investments through NEOM or the Public Investment Fund really reflects that. Similarly, in Bahrain, if you look at Bahrain, considering its small size, they are also really invested in ESG through CBB. Their central bank has come up with very strict regulations in terms of its compliance for organizations to follow, and now it's mandatory.
And it's not just governments. Private companies have been focusing on that. Startups have capital funds who are just focusing on in ESG investments, investing in clean energy, sustainable building, and circular economic models.
Yes. So, plus ESG funds, are really gaining momentum in the market as well, because they are coming up. The market is coming up with stronger governance protocols with regards to these ESG funds. Similarly, there's a very big move towards better disclosure requirements as well. Mm-hmm. Towards organizations. So it is a good sign in the region. It tells you that the regional market, the regional capital markets are basically maturing around the ESG agenda.
Yeah. And so if you're listening and thinking, where do I start? We are here to help. ESG investing can feel complex, but it doesn't have to be.
We work with a lot of clients, Manal, as you know, on the ESG front. We have a large spectrum of clients that we work with. They are from high net worth individuals to institutional investors to build ESG aligned portfolios and assess funds' credibility to avoid the trap of greenwashing.
Whether you are just exploring ESG or ready to refine your sustainable investment strategy, our team has the tools and regional insight to support you.
Thanks for joining us on ESG Uncovered. In the next episode, we'll be diving into how ESG is driving innovation in GCC.
Until then, invest with impact and keep uncovering what ESG can do for you. Thank you.